I'm really excited to do this. Finally get to dig into Season 7. Really quick before we begin, there's something that I have failed to mention since graduation. You may have noticed that there is a little Peachy with me. And that is, as of now, my only dog. You may remember in my older reviews, there was a beagle named Duffy, if you remember him on my Ticketmaster review all the way back in 2013. Feels so long ago. Yeah. This was something that I had not mentioned during the time when I was reviewing the first half of Season 6. The thing is, Duffy was having a lot of health problems during my final year at Mitchell, where he was basically just old, he was constantly peeing, and it seemed like that his body was shutting down, and basically one night he was vomiting blood and he had to be put, and basically on January 20th, 2020, Duffy had to be put to sleep. And he was put to sleep, and by this time I had already left to go and finish my final semester at Mitchell. And he had to be put to sleep a week after I went back to finish my final semester. And yeah, it's been about over 2 years now since he's been put to sleep. And I mean, it's all fine. I'm doing fine now, but the first couple of weeks it was a tough pill to swallow, and I wanted you guys to know that, since Little Miss here is now our only dog in the house for the past 2 years. Alright, now for this depressing stuff, because that's not what you want to hear, because I'm doing this recording for a reason. It's time to jump back into MLP after my rather sporadic Let's Play of Dead or Alive Dimension. I'll try to find a game that's more exciting, but that's not what you want to hear. It's finally, after pretty much 2.5 years, 3 years of just reviewing Season 6, it's finally time to jump into Season 7. And to kick things off, it is our only season premiere that's not a two-parter. What is this witchcraft? Alright, celestial advice. Let's jump into this. Assuming the DVD player would work. So this episode basically starts out with basically Spike spotting exposition for what happened in our season finale of Season 6. As was most of the audience, unless you were one of those bronies that basically ditched the series by Season 3, which was not me, by the way. Hey, and yeah, speaking of that, in case anybody was wondering, as I've mentioned all the way back in the Applejack's Day Off review, I have seen every episode of the series except Season 9, Episode 17, and onward, but I was spoiled by the rest of the season, courtesy of Instagram and Facebook. Thank you, MLP Facebook groups.
Alright.
So basically, it's partly spouting exposition and also stalling in terms of Spike, as basically Twilight was making a mirror gift for...
Yeah, we are. So, do you think she'll like it? I want this present to say, I'm so proud of you, both as a mentor and a friend. Equestria is safer thanks to you. Oh, I
it's nice to also see Shakit's picture of Moon Dancer. It kind of makes you wonder what happened to her. And also, whatever happened to Owlicious? Like, I could be just a lazy bastard and just look it up on the Wikipedia, but I have not seen Owlicious appear since season 4. So there's just a lot to question.
After the ceremony.
Yeah, but don't you need to get the castle ready for the celebration?
Nah, Pinkie Pie's got that covered.
Classic Pinkie, never change. Classic Pinkie, never change. Let's see, by this point, oh yeah, by the way, I should also mention that by this point in the season, as indicated on the DVD, the logo pretty much changed to a different color stream, so that's also nice to know. So anyways, we cut to our basic ceremony as we see Twilight congratulate our MLP version of Suicide Squad from saving everybody from the Changeling Army, who are now the good guys, except for Chrysalis.
Stopping Queen Chrysalis, not only did they save Equestria, they set the Changelings free from her reign.
Go, Discord!
That would be the one Discord fan in the background.
And that's why we're proud and honored to give them the equestrian pink hearts of courage.
Alright, so I know a lot of people have questioned about the pink hearts of courage, and honestly, I am not in the military, so I can't really make the definition of the purple hearts, so honestly, I don't really have the proper explanation to explain that. Honestly, you should probably just see the Fiery Joker's review of the episode to get more out of it, since he's in the military and I'm not. But yeah, they're giving basically awards for basically saving the entire land, and we get this pretty legitimate funny moment.
We are so proud of you all.
That's it? No punchline? So we pretty much see the celebration going around as we see
The great and powerful Trixie's pleasure to save you from your imminent doom.
Yes, because you did it all by yourself. I can't believe you managed to do it without magic.
It was amazing. No one's ever stood up to Chrysalis like that.
well, I'm assuming it's because of that, because I think because you guys were evil, nobody had the balls to do it.
Oh, I just did what any pony would have done.
It's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? Watching your students shine the way you always knew they could.
My cheeks are sore. I don't think I've ever smiled this much in my life.
That's really just the fact about smiling. While it is great, sometimes if you smile too much, your cheeks get really, really sore.
I can only imagine what that feels like.
Yes, Starlight is Student of the Year, isn't she? She has so much potential. So, what are we going to do with her? And by we, I definitely mean you, being her mentor and all that. Her destiny falls squarely on your conscience.
So now we pretty much get to the point where it's back to classic Twilight, overthinking everything and spiraling out of control, but for good reason. As pretty much Twilight is now unsure if Starlight has anything else to learn, and Discord basically paints the idea, what is Starlight supposed to do now?
Oh, don't you worry.
As basically Discord basically says, what is Starlight supposed to do?
Celestia set you on a path that eventually made you a princess.
Yep.
Oh, good. I'm sure she can't wait to hear all about it.
So, how's the whole ruling a kingdom thing going? It's a bit overwhelming, but we're adjusting.
Alright, now, speaking of the Fire Joker, I know he kind of bitched about this in his review, how, you know, we don't see Thorax's authority rule of the Changeling and how it is better than Chrysalis. I'm not too angry about that because, well, it's true that we don't know about it, but, spoiler alert, we get to see how that authority works in the future episode, and we get to go over that in great detail. Just saying.
So, you can't have...
Alright, so after really some, honestly a little bit of humorous moments, basically Discord tries to basically get Starlight and Twilight together, and honestly I think I just paused at a really humorous frame. Honestly, I wish I could just take a picture of it. Yeah, screw it. I might as well just do it. Honestly, I didn't really do this since my Party of One review all the way back in Season 1, but honestly, this is a pretty humorous frame that I just paused at. Honestly, this is pretty hilarious trying to explain it. But, yeah, getting back to the point of the episode, basically, Discord pulls Starlight to the side and tries to get her to talk to Twilight.
Really? I was kind of wondering what we were going to do next.
Yes, I'd say we were both fairly interested.
Of course you are. And I do have a plan, obviously. But now is clearly not the time to do it. You should enjoy your party. Starlight, come on. The Boingo Chronicle wants to take our picture.
I always kind of wonder if there were other news station brands in Equestria. Because honestly, ever since Season 2, I thought the only one was the Full Free Press, even though technically it's like a school column. I didn't know that there were other news columns in Equestria.
You too, Discord.
So like I said, being classic Twilight, and as Discord keeps basically driving along, Twilight then begins to basically do her classic Twilighting, which is basically overly freak out and basically realize that she didn't plan for anything.
She mastered this. She taught me about this one.
Wild guess. Something's wrong.
Like, I'm a terrible mentor. Why didn't I come up with a path for Starlight? Princess Celestia had it all figured out for me. That's it.
So Twilight goes over to talk to Princess Celestia, and yeah, also judging by the title of the episode, you may have noticed that we're seeing more of Celestia in a prominent role in the episode. After 7 seasons. Really think about it. She occasionally popped up here and there, and while she did have some little minor major roles in episodes like Earn the Hoof all the way back in Season 1, we never really given a lot of proper focus to Celestia, and by this point we didn't really know much about her outside of her being the ruler of Equestria and being Luna's sister. But other than those things, we don't really know much about her. But when Twilight basically goes and explains her distress of how she couldn't figure out how to put on a right path for her, she basically goes to Celestia for advice.
So you have an overachieving student. Sounds familiar.
That's why I had to talk to you. You, of all ponies, would know what to do. I mean, you were me and I was Starlight. But for now, I need you to pretend you're you and I'm me. Huh?
Go on.
When I was your student and you were in this place, you... No. You sent me to Ponyville, which means it's time for me to send Starlight Glimmer away.
So, yeah, that's kind of an interesting development. Because now Twilight has it in her head that because now that she's become the teacher, or mentor in this case, she has to feel that she has to follow along the same path as Celestia did for her.
I can't believe it. It really is time for Starlight to go, isn't it?
Only you can make that decision. It's a difficult one, but your heart knows what's right, even as it hurts. Where are you going to send her?
I really like Celestia's look, but yeah, honestly, I I'm really liking this episode for giving Celestia more of a prominent role. Now that we've seen Twilight basically mature and grow as a character and see her being the mentor, we actually get to see how much impact Celestia had on her and basically going to her former teacher for advice. And we basically get to see the advice from a knowledge of one princess passing it on to the next generation. And it's mostly because Celestia basically gives the motherly teacher role and basically gives the guidance that really it's up to you to decide what's best for your student, passing on that knowledge from one generation to the next.
No, this is something I have to do. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Whatever Twilight's planning for...
And meanwhile, we do get some more funny moments with Discord and the rest of the main six, even though, let's be honest here, they honestly become less and less relevant as the season premieres go on. I will admit that does kind of bog the episode down a bit, because despite it being, how do I put this? I think really it's just because I think ever since, probably since the Crystal Empire, they've probably become less and less as relevant in terms of these season premieres. I mean, yeah, they did utilize each other in the cutie map, but the Crystalling, they didn't really show off a whole lot of them, and this is probably what knocks the episode back, given how it is really only a singular episode and not a two-parter like I'm expecting it to be. But let's just keep going, because there's a lot to like about this episode. So Twilight gets the first vision in, as we get to see some Tron technology of imagining Starlight going over to the Changelings into Thorax to pass on friendship, since, like I said from the previous review, the Changelings have, well, changed, and they need to learn more about friendship that they learned from Thorax. But Twilight then starts to get it into her head that something could potentially go awry.
This is Twilight's fantasy, Spike? There isn't it?
We also get this bit of humorous moment from Spike. I really did not think I would be saying those words after I hated him for the first 3 seasons, but I just think that after season 4 and after coming across some rather intolerable characters, I think the hate is just gone. Like, I just really don't have anything bad to say about him in the later seasons. But anyway, let's get this great moment.
This doesn't seem like something Starlight and Thorax did. This is Twilight's fantasy, Spike. There is no wrong way to fantasize.
And we get a bit of snarky Celestia. I love that.
Starlight's liver is the most apt and perspicacious pony.
And a bit of Twilight. But yeah, like I said before, as the vision begins to go on, Twilight then begins to start to get into her head, as basically she gets this thought that might seem a tad bit, I would say, racist. I honestly couldn't really show you. But eventually the vision basically starts to get Twilight's head, as she thinks that something could go awry if Starlight was sent to go live with the Changelings, even though Spike decides to reassure her that things would be just fine.
That probably won't happen.
But it could. I can't just send her off to Celestia knows where without thinking it through.
I was not aware that I was an expression. An appropriate one, of course.
God, I love having snarky Celestia, and I would go into the details of basically using of basically reference of basically God knows when, but I haven't made the secret that I'm not really a religious person, so I'm not going to delve into that.
For even I don't know the answer. This is a momentous decision. You must consider all the possibilities.
Rethink.
So another idea that basically Twilight has is potentially send Starlight to the Dragonland, as we get some more basically 90s stereotypes as Spike continues to be sarcastic.
Or Starlight. Who knows what their dynamic would be, Spike?
Give about 14, 15, maybe 16 episodes later of the season, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But, just like before, basically Twilight begins to overthink everything and believes that something could potentially go awry. And it involves Garble.
Starlight's really good with magic. She could just stop herself from falling into a pit of lava.
What if she didn't realize it was happening? You just never know, Spike. I just need to think of someplace safe to send her. Someplace safe, someplace safe, someplace safe. I could send her to the Crystal Empire to continue her magical studies with Sunburst.
Well, I guess technically it would be nice for her to reconnect with Starlight. Also, it could potentially be her vision, as Celestia said, but I completely ignored that line because, well, other programming analysts have pointed it out. But yeah, the next stop would be the Crystal Empire, and it would be great, but like the others before it, Twilight starts to overthink everything and believes something would go awry if something were to happen, and we get this joyous line of dialogue from Spike.
The study of magic is a lifelong pursuit, and Starlight could be there for a while, especially once they start attempting the really complicated stuff.
3, 2, 1...
What if they become too ambitious?
Yeah, and then we get, honestly, a rather disturbing moment where she would potentially see Starlight and Sunburst attempting to open, I'm assuming, basically a portal to insert Bell Cipher joke here, but it would be a spell that would go awry that would basically summon a black hole and destroy all of existence. And it becomes too much for Starlight, or Twilight.
Easy, Twilight. It didn't happen. But it could. I just don't think I can send her anywhere. What am I gonna do?
Why are we laughing? Wait, why are we laughing?
Oh, Twilight, I'm not. I'm laughing because I have the exact same fears you're having.
What?
Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a very bright young filly.
So now we get, honestly, a pretty interesting moment where, well, for one thing, we get to see more of joyous, snarky Celestia with her laugh, but we learn that she felt the exact same way Twilight has right now. And I think this backstory says it all.
She was truly one of my best students.
Are you talking about Twilight? I can't see what you're thinking about.
Yes, Spike. I was constantly surprised and impressed with her discoveries. But I noticed that her pursuit of academia was preventing her from reaching her full potential. And Nina was keeping her isolated and alone.
Damn it, I can't believe Spike is giving me so much to laugh at now looking back. God, I was stupid back in my earlier reviews. Especially given about other okay, Dead Horse.
Yes, Spike. I had a decision to make. Oh, but it wasn't easy. Maybe I could close the library, or throw a party in the castle. Oh, she'd have to talk to the other fillies then. I must send her away.
Oh boy, yeah. And just so you keep all this in mind, Celestia was going through this exact same process all the way back in the series premiere. Just keep that in mind.
I knew there was a special group of fillies in Ponyville, but I kept inventing all kinds of reasons why I shouldn't send you. What if she runs into a manticore? Or what if she gets pulled into Tartarus?
Give it about 2 seasons for her to do that, and potentially use as a special plot point in a certain fan fiction. I wonder.
Worst of all, what if she doesn't get along with any pony.
Are we supposed to say something? I don't think so.
Damn it, the episode also gave the Royal Guard something to laugh at, even though they've proven to be totally useless. God, even though the season premiere is 22 minutes, it's given me a lot to enjoy.
I kept you in Canterlot longer than I should have. Eventually, I realized all the anxiety I felt was because I didn't want you to go.
Really?
I loved having you as a student. You challenged me and taught me just as much as I taught you. I am embarrassed to admit it, but I was afraid if you made friends, you wouldn't need me anymore.
God! This premiere is giving me so much of the feels.
Princess Celestia, that is so not true. I will always need you.
I think Starlight Glimmer might feel the same way about you, if that is what you're afraid of.
Yeah, so, well, there's not a whole lot. Well, if you're expecting action in this premiere, here, you're not going to get it, but this premiere is more to make up for it with the feels back repeatedly hitting you in the stomach to make you cry. God.
Maybe it is. Just a little.
Oh, it definitely is. Like a lot. Here we are after all these years, Twilight. We are living proof that letting someone spread their wings doesn't mean you no longer have a place in their lives.
You know, it really just goes to show that this episode gives us more than meets the eye for Celestia. We get to see that she's not as, basically, she's not the ruler that we think that we have known for 7 seasons prior. As we saw in the flashback, she has these anxieties, the exact same anxieties that she had going through with Twilight. And while we did get some hints in some earlier episodes how she's not as, you know, sticking up as royalty as we believe that she is, we do see that Celestia really is like every pony else. Where she has feelings of regret, anxiety, and sadness, and just wanting to be close to the student that she has grown to know. And honestly, watching this episode now is honestly sort of what I'm going through right now, because I, as a senior associate now for like the last almost 4 months now, and I've been training a new associate, and it feels like I am passing off the knowledge that I have learned at work to basically try to make him a great worker in the digital marketing field. And I had these anxieties in wondering if everything that I'm teaching him, is it really sticking with him? Is it going to learn? And all of that is just running through my head. And it's kind of teachings like this that kind of made me think about doing early childhood before I graduated high school. So, yeah, this premiere is a lot more relatable watching the episode now than it was when the episode first came out. And I gotta give it a lot of props.
Thank you.
And if you're still worried, you can always make her write you letters.
So eventually, Twilight does eventually get up, and after more Discord shenanigans,
You weren't coming up with a plan just now, were you? Oh dear, this could be pretty embarrassing for you.
Gee, thanks, Discord.
Anytime. I really do love being helpful.
If I could have every pony's attention.
even though you're the one who's leading the missions and everybody was waiting on you, but I digress.
As you all know.
Okay, and I threw my hands up because we get the famous classic lines, as you know, because as the Nostalgia Critic and many other reviewers have pointed out with those simple lines of dialogue, If they already know, why are you explaining it?
Starlight Glimmer's been my pupil for a while now, and I'd hoped she'd be my pupil for a long time yet to come. But it turns out that's just not meant to be. Starlight, you have proved yourself to be a kind, loyal, strong, honest, and truly magical friend.
Depends on the episode. And no, I have not gotten past the stuff that she did and every little thing she does, but I digress.
Just looking around this room at all the new friendships you've made, I know there's nothing more I need to teach you.
I'm only going to hold off because I've been hinting at a certain fan fiction that I have honestly been writing since my senior year of high school. That's where I might as well just say it. Basically, ever since my senior year of high school, I've been writing a crossover fanfic between Friendship is Magic, before the Season 6 finale, and a crossover of Persona 4, where the Midnight Channel comes into Equestria. And basically, I try to cram in as much information between the first 6 seasons as well as the comics, making Starlight the main focus since she was really new to the cast, and I wanted to expand more on her character after the finale of Season 5. There, got that out of the way. It's not published because I have not finished writing it because, as I said, I've been writing it since my senior year of high school, and I've been pushing it back for a long time because I couldn't find the time to write it until just recently. Okay, alright, enough about my stuff. Let's get back to the Fields train.
So we have a second reason to celebrate today. 3 cheers for Starlight Glimmer on her graduation day. The future's in your own hands now.
Wow, I was not expecting this.
Darn it. I was hoping you'd send her to my realm. We could have been roomies. Way to not pick up what I was putting down.
How do you want to celebrate? Girls' trip to Las Pegasus?
We can throw you a Changeling Court then. It won't let us down.
Or we could go cause a little...
Alright, so eventually, Starlight goes up to try to talk to Twilight about what to do.
Happy, surprised, overwhelmed. I mean, not that I'm not grateful, but are you sure? Believe me, I've thought long and hard about this. Of course you did. Starlight, trust me. You're ready. Yeah. No, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm not ready to leave. Oh, good. Because I'm not ready for that either. Here. I got you this present. It was going to be a congrats on getting a Medal of Honor present, but then I was afraid it would have to be a going away present, but now it's I couldn't be happier staying present. It fits perfectly over your dresser. I know. I measured. Thank you. I may not know what comes next for you, but whatever it is, I promise I'll always be there for you.
I'm not tired. God.
Oh.
Wow. That was Celestial Advice. The episode was good. We see that Picky has a vacuum to clean up the entire party. Alright, now that was Celestial Advice. Yeah, this was honestly, it was a good episode. I think despite the fact that it's unlike the rest of the season premieres where it's only 22 episodes, I think while not a lot of it goes on, it well makes up for the anxieties of Twilight's feelings. Honestly, Twilight was definitely a great part to see not only how far that she's grown, but we see the anxieties that she gets of being the teacher and realizing that she may have to do the same thing as Celestia did with her, and it potentially shows her that she's still nervous and she doesn't know the future of her student and how much more she has learned to grow. Well, the message just basically is kind of ransacked honestly, of just letting Starlight just basically grow up and make her own decisions. Honestly, the moral does get kind of ransacked with those last minutes. Honestly, I think what made this episode honestly enjoyable, aside from the humor, was honestly Celestia. Just seeing her it's nice to see her basically give us more range of her thought process and her thinking to what's been going on, and we see that she was just as nervous as Twilight. And obviously, as I said, where this premiere lacks intention, it makes up for it for the feels, because honestly, there were a few times where I almost caught myself crying at certain scenes, because I think that's just probably how far we've seen the characters grow, and we see how much stress and emotion is built up towards them. I think really, honestly, I think what kind of holds this episode back a bit is that I think, not a lot happens in this premiere, but I think that's kind of the point, but I just think that also, like I said, the moral does get kind of ransacked in the last few minutes, because we were kind of expecting to see just Twilight and Starlight expecting and accepting to move on the next 4 steps, only for it to, again, get completely ransacked, just kind of bog it down, but it doesn't really hurt the episode. Honestly, if this is the kind of quality that Season 7 has had, then I think we're going to be in for a pretty good season. So with that, Celestial Advice is probably a B+. Ugh. Wow, I cannot believe that this was only Season 7. Yeah, so there is just a lot to go through my head. I think maybe I just needed to do this episode because even though it's been 2 years, I never really did a proper review to dedicate to Duffy, since I was just going through a lot of things at the time. So Duffy, this episode is dedicated to you. May your soul rest in peace. I miss you, good fella. Alright, so hopefully we'll get on something a bit more, hopefully lighthearted. Alright, so next time, hopefully, unlike Season 6, I won't be able to take all the time in the world of what's left in 2022 to review Season 7, and next time we will look at All Bottled Up. See you guys next time. Bye.